Microphone check. Yeah. Hello. Hello, everybody. So today we're going to try to Okay, that's pessimistic. We will try to finish our project today. I've been working yesterday on the project and solved some errors. So let's just jump right into it and give you a small update. So we still have some things in the to-do function, and I think these are still relevant. Yeah, I actually want to try to have something for a non-object. So let's try make hidden root game object parent or give feedback. Yeah. Yeah, it's just that I don't really like having a target that is none. That's the main issue. So we have to break that down in the end, because I just don't want to write every time if we have a target, if the target is null, and then have a different if clause for this. It really makes a difference in the code quality. That's why I'm a little bit hesitant to say, okay, let's allow these. Okay, sorry, I have to look after that. What was that? Okay. Something weird just happened. My desk actually was going down and hitting something, so that doesn't matter too much. So we still have to get the non target problem solved. We now have this list brush to world mapping. With this brush list, we have one issue with the brush list, and that is find out why base lane brush is not in brush list. Could be because of the attributes, but I'm not sure about that. We still have to work on the attributes here. So what I want to focus on is getting this list to work. And today, so we won't finish today, that's unrealistic, but get it in a state where it's only about bug fixing and fixing quirks. So this list here, this is the last function that is not really in here right now. So everything else, I'm very happy with the inspector. Like, you can go in, select a target and just draw. Yeah, that's what I actually want to do. And now I want to have this list that determines how the algorithm determines how to map the object onto the target. Yeah. And let's get going. If there's XY plane, wash to world mapping. Let's get some music. Okay. And this is supposed to be the default wash to world mapping. So the wash to world mapping actually is supposed to be in here, and you're supposed to select how the mouse algorithm works with the world. Yeah, and then you can swap that out with another function, another algorithm, to make a terrain brush. Have it on another z-axis, or have something very customized that you determine how to do. Yeah, so as I want to be able to change the algorithm. For that we need to be able to define different classes. These classes are supposed to inherit from this. From this class. I think it's not abstract right now. Let's think abstract won't work. Oh, it does work. Okay. I think I did try out something and that didn't work. Okay, then let's just go in here. Get this method inside. So we can try out to just use the inheritance. Not sure what the problem with the mouse position reference is. Oh, I see. It's the wrong vector. No, it complains because it basically hides the method of the base class without actually doing something else. So let's try something out. Okay. Actually what we want. Okay. Yeah, it will just take some time. So the goal. Let's just talk about the goal. And before I'm getting lost in the details right now, which is not good. So I need to enable the stream setup. Make a test here.
Test.
Okay. Before I get lost in the details, get a null reference. It's interesting. Look into the internal references, and it doesn't create an asset for the brush to world function. Makes it a little bit harder because I just wanted to say, okay, let's just strategize. Okay, the strategy is to make the algorithm for drawing dynamically programmable by making the classes here inherit from this brush to world mapping. I think it has a problem because of the abstract nature right now, and I don't understand though why. So I have to look into that here. I have to look into that. Maybe you can't do it with the base class because it doesn't work with an abstract class. Because then tries to make an abstract class inside of here. It also doesn't create the asset from this class. So there's a lot of things that I have to work with to make this list work. So you're supposed to choose the brush to world mapping, and then you have a different algorithm. And what I want to do for the first algorithm is just these two values, to swap them out and say, instead of having a plane and using the XY axis to hit and project your target, we're going to use the YZ and the XZ axis. Yeah. Just to have a choice. Yeah. I actually don't think that they are very useful. I just want to have something where it's easy to show off and program without getting too much into details that we are going to have later when we are trying to make something like a terrain brush. Yeah? It's going when I make a terrain brush, which is not going to happen this month. Probably I won't even do any terrain brush because of time restraints. But I want this to be I want the possibility to be there that I actually thought of. Okay, how do I make this a terrain brush? Of course, when I do a terrain brush, I will probably walk into another thing where I need to rewrite a lot of stuff. But I don't know but I have no idea what it is. And then just to have a terrain brush, I have to be able to choose that somewhere. That's why this list exists, even though the list is not important. Yeah. Okay, so that's the strategy to work on that, and after that it's just getting all the getting around bugs and quirks around here.
Hey bud, how's everything going?
Hey bud, what's up? Yeah, let me try out something. So I'm in stages. Yeah, let's say it like that. Okay. Currently I'm trying to make this brush palette working in the last stages. Where this is the final presentation, so the UI is finished, and I'm working with this mapping tool. So currently it's like this. If you go in here, select a brush that also has some object attached, you can just go in and draw with your brush, yeah, and it will map the objects that are inside of the brush to the world. Currently it's just taking the position of the transform that it is selecting as a target. So this is the target. You have to draw on something, and it's taking the X and Y axis as a plane. It's a plane, and then you can draw on it in 2D. And I'm trying to make this more generic so that you can select the algorithm that the plane is constructed with. So the first step will be that it does not take the X and Y plane.
Oh, cool.
But I want it to be able to also have just a selectable drop down here where you can swap out the algorithm, and the first thing it is going to be the X and Z and Y and Z plane. Oh, currently there's one algorithm. So there's a lot of algorithms that you can come up with. The most important one is 2D, just to be able to draw in 2D like in this. This is currently the case because it's just constructing a flat plane. You can just draw in 2D, but then the second algorithm that I can think of is a terrain brush, where you don't have a flat plane, but it has your terrain with hills and mountains and stuff that you draw on, and then you can't just map this on a 2D plane. If you draw on a 2D plane, but this is a hill, the things will be inside of the plane, and that's why you would need to have to swap out the algorithm to have different kinds of brushes. Yeah, so this is something that I'm working on. I'm not going to make the terrain brush because this there's a lot of things that I know that are going to change if I make a terrain brush, but I'm going to make the algorithm being able to be swapped out, make some tests, some basic algorithms. Yeah, as I said, that you can swap out the algorithm at all. To get to that point is a little bit of work, because you can't just put in an object in here, but I have to get classes in here, and that's why I have to work a lot with object types, and maybe I will have to do reflections now. I had a case where I thought I was going to use reflections, but I could just plug in an object. But it gets a lot of details, because Unity does not like that.
Try to avoid it.
Yeah, me too. Today I really had a case where I was inside of this instance loading, and I had to get in this type. Yeah, and I needed the type, so you had to get this in. It was not this method though. It was this method. I had to get in the type, but it worked with just casting it to an object. This is a Unity object, not a C# object, so I got around getting reflections, because reflections are always a little bit I don't like that you have to type in the name as a string, and then you lose the flexibility when they change the code, then your method name is still in there and it will cause an error. You have to fix it later. It's something that I try to avoid as much as possible. Yeah. But yeah,
Maybe a common algo interface for all algos. Are there common functions that would be called?
a common algorithm for all. Yeah, there are common functions. So currently this is
I forget if C# calls them interfaces.
C# has interfaces. So currently I have this class where I'm inheriting from, but I don't use this mouse to world function right now. Well, right now it's like this. So I will decide if this is an I think this will be an interface or an abstract class. I haven't decided yet. I'm currently trying to finish the drop down and just I have this class that inherits from the base class, so that this basically will be an abstract class or interface, yeah, because this doesn't define what algorithm you use, but you have to have some common functions that you could then call inside of the tool, and the tool is I think here in the tool there's the mouse to world function that defines how the mouse is mapped to the world. Yeah, it's over here. So I've made this a function. I should have done that anyway, but then I can swap this out and say, instead of calling this inside of the tool, I have this mappings. This is a class that is going to show me what kind of mappings I have, and this is supposed to then being used as a pointer. This is the current used mapping that the user selected inside of the drop-down list. And then inside of here, instead of mouse to world, you would go and write it like this. Current selected mapping. Actually, it doesn't want me to select the mapping for some reason. Oh, it's not static. Yeah, okay, it's not static. So like this. This is my plan, yeah? And then I can get the algorithm out from this class, and or the class that inherits from that and has the actual method, yeah. And I think I will look into the details of interface
You
and
can make
abstract.
a factory class or method that creates a new implementing subclass depending on what the user chooses, but the factory returns the parent interface as the class type.
Yeah. So currently I'm not. I will look into the details a little bit later and just read myself into it. I think you're probably right with the interface, but currently I'm just trying to get this class to appear in the list, and I'm a little bit confused why it doesn't show up right now, because I have the same with the brush types. The brush types are also scriptable. You can script your own brush so that you could define that one brush just draws in the things that you want to draw, but you could define another method for the paint function so that it just paints gets into every object component here and gives it another color, for example, if you know what you need. So I want the things to be customizable. Actually, I do that in another project. That's why I know that it would be nice to have the brushes customizable. And now I'm doing the same with the map. But currently I'm busy trying to make the drop down work, and that has a little bit to do with how Unity loads in classes. And I'm trying to do it like this. I create an asset, and this asset is actually what's inside of here. And that has the con that I'm actually not loading in the class, but a reference to an asset that is an instant of the class, and I'm not convinced that this is the right way to do it. But that way it uses the same algorithm as the brush, which really needs to do that, because from with the brushes, I'm able to create a new brush like this and say new brush, and then I can have this brush inside of the brush inside of the brushes list, and give it new objects. Like, you want one brush for rocks, you want one brush for vegetation, for trees, and you don't want to have your random objects, get them out of here and then plug in your objects. Yeah, that's why I say, okay, you can just make new brushes, and then you have your brushes named them rock, grass, something, interiors, what you actually need. And I can I thought I maybe used the same algorithm for the brush to world mapping, because this is also definable classes that are scriptable objects, so that you can right click them and create an object here. You won't be able to do that with the algorithm, because that doesn't make sense. You just want to have a base class. I think I'm probably making this too complicated though, because of that inheritance. By them using the same algorithm, I narrowed down that I can get the asset into the list at all, but I think it's wrong. But I think I should. Yeah, I'm still in the phase where I just try to things work, and after that I will do the refactoring. Yeah. But factory, but the factory. I actually have never worked with factory classes. I know that they exist, but I haven't worked with them yet. I work with factory classes, but it has been so long. Factory class in C#.
It's just classes that make other classes.
Ah.
Because you want to decide what subclass to create.
Does it construct classes at one time?
Actually returned is the parent class.
Okay, that would be okay for me, because I need the methods from the parent class, like in an abstract class or interface. Like, I know for sure that I will use I think I will use an interface, because in an abstract class you usually define what is inside of the method. In an interface you don't. So, but I wouldn't define the function in the base class at all.
Yup, abstract is when you need a method or two actually implemented.
Yeah. So currently I have the method implementation here in the class. In an interface I would need to get rid of it, which is okay, but yeah. I will try that out later, because I want to have two algorithms here to choose from, and then choose the different algorithms to test out if, once I have the inheritance done, and gotten the classes inside of here, if I can make the different method calls from the tool that is drawing onto the
If there is
world.
no common code, then the full implementation is just in the subclasses, but abstract lets you remove duplication from common code.
Yeah, I know. It's I haven't told everything, so because there's just a lot of things. It's not just when you have your toolset inside of here. There's also some code in the brush that determines how the brush radius constructs the objects that are at the edge of the radius. So there's actually, I think there's 3 methods, and that's why I haven't decided. That's why I've decided if it's an interface or an abstract class, because maybe you would always define that the target point is different, but wouldn't redefine the other classes. So in that case, it would basically make sense to have an abstract class where you have the most world function, and in the inherited classes, you would call basically only one. You would redefine only one function. Yeah, that's why I'm a little bit hesitant to decide on abstract class or interface. With factory, I'm not sure if I need a factory. Because I'm not actually constructing classes. The user has to define what he's going to do. So
I got sensorsed.
Oh, you got censored. Sorry. Let me see.
You'll see the common code when you implement the next algo. I guess if the algos are implemented by users, I'm not really sure what to do. I haven't worked on user inputted code like that.
Oh, yeah. So the user just has to define his own class. He needs to go make a new script, like just like I do with the XY plane, and then he just types in what he wants to do different, and he wants to, I don't know, make some changes to what he selects as a target, to the hit point, change the algorithm. Yeah, so I know that people in the end do things with your stuff that you have no idea that they needed that or that they wanted to do that. So I'm just trying to keep this as generic as possible. Yeah. So I know for 100% sure that if I make this an interface, that people will probably just change one of the 3 methods that are used inside of here. But I will get into that later when I copy all 3 methods. I think it's 3. As I say, one thing after another.
Do you try to keep a daily schedule when you work on your own projects?
Yeah. So even if I don't stream, I will always go in here. I have my task list, and then I go in here and say, okay, what do I do today? I'm trying to create a drop down. I actually have the drop down created, so I can cross that out. But I'm going in here and say, okay, today I'm doing one task, and I don't know how long the task is going to take. But I'm trying to get this done. Then I go inside, make a task, at least a task, and keep going, or not. If I'm finished in 10 minutes, I select another task. If I work for hours or something, And I decide after I'm finished with the task. Yeah. So it's also depends a little bit on what I'm working on as a job. When I have a job, for example, I sit down in the evening after I get home, and then you don't have that many hours to work on your projects. But I still always try to make a task, just to have a schedule. Yeah. Now, it's a little bit different from other things when I'm learning a language or just exercising for myself, where I have a set time period where I say, okay, I'm going to learn Japanese for half an hour, and after that I'm going to learn Dutch, and after that I make half an hour of exercise. So I can't do that with programming because I basically never know how long it takes. But I think that you can adjust to that, I guess. But I know if I wouldn't keep a daily schedule, and prioritize on the task, then I probably would just read some news, read about new hardware, for example. In my free time, I mostly just read or watch stuff about hardware stuff, what kind of graphic cards are coming out, and SSDs, and something that I'm just interested in. But I would say that is more like something like to relax.
I have trouble focusing when I do my own projects.
I know when I was a student, I was always programming, and when I was hitting some kind of barrier, something that I didn't understand, and
you have good discipline, though. That's awesome.
Thank you. And it just comes with time. I think there's people who have better discipline than me. I think I wouldn't consider myself a 10x developer, and I don't think that I have the potential to become one, but I know that I can get the things that I do in a good quality out, even though I probably won't match the same quantity as a 10x developer. And for me, that's the world, just to give out stuff where people are happy with and that they can work with without causing them time loss. Yeah, I wanted to contribute something to what they do and not to be the barrier, to have them download my asset, try that out, and they say, okay, that's complete waste of my time because the guy hasn't worked around the way. What happens if this is null, or he hasn't tested it out? There's a lot of things where I just plug in things that doesn't make sense. What if I delete all brushes? What if I delete all algorithms? Then I have to react on these things that are normally unexpected. I can show you something that I'm proud of, though.
Do you still try to do one task after work still when you work at a different job during the day?
Yeah, I did that. Now, it comes down a little bit to motivation. I know when I had a job and I was super motivated, I was basically having a daily schedule that was super hard. With starting my day with getting up early, doing a workout, get to the job, work there for 8 to 9 hours. Then I get home, would start the stream immediately, and code until the night. And I did that for I would say for 3 months, disciplined every day, and then I would drop a little bit as my motivation. The job would also drop, and that was also one thing that made me decide to stop working on the job, because I saw that I was not only getting the lack of motivation in the job because the job was getting nowhere. It was well played though, so the pay was good, but the project didn't make sense. And then I lost my motivation in daily life. So I guess you have been working on a lot of jobs already. Are you still sitting down after your work and do your own projects? Or are you doing that sporadic, spontaneously? So sometimes you have the motivation and come down. Do you do that in your holidays?
Right now I'm working on a real estate property after work, but yes, before I tried to work on my own software projects I had trouble focusing and would procrastinate a lot though.
Yeah. So what is your main source of procrastination? So my main source was really I would say what you call doom scrolling on YouTube and social media. And no, there's sometimes I would actually watch useful stuff like GDC talks, where they talk about how the developers make their games, their testing, their internal tools. But most of the stuff were just reviews of games, of hardware, of new coding stuff, but mostly not useful for the things that I needed.
For me, I don't like my brain being unoccupied, cause if I get bored I think negative things, so I would put on a stream or movie on a separate screen, but it would end up taking all my attention.
So here's something I just say that I read this, that Albert Einstein, that I just think he was a really intelligent guy, or got stuff done. Now he said intelligence is not like we define, it's not what people think, that we define intelligence in the wrong way, because you're always able to do something very well. But he was spending a lot of time in his free time just going out, and he had when he was living in Germany, in Berlin, he was just going around a lake, and walking. And he said that he was thinking a lot. And what he was also keeping with him was just a sheet of paper. And he said it's very important for him to write down his ideas and thoughts, because he found out when he was thinking about things that it would get meaningless if he doesn't make his thoughts into some kind of real thing in the real world. So that that's something he did to focus, and that makes me believe. Now this is just a belief. Maybe psychologists will tell you something deeper, but I believe when you're walking around a lake and have the time to get bored, that you get actually productive in another way. The same way I force myself to get bored when doing the code, like where I'm reading my own code, and sometimes I'm just scrolling through here and without a goal and just try to find something and don't know what I'm looking for. But by being bored, I come up with new ideas because I've the time to actually think about the things I need to get progress on. The bad thing though, it takes time. Like when I was starting with programming, I was really thinking of the programmer. He has a hoodie and is sitting up in front of his PC and is just typing like in a movie. When you see these guys and they are typing super fast and hack their way in the system. Yeah, I never made it to that point. Like from outside when I'm doing my
So
GitHub.
you mean being bored lets you focus a bit better?
Yeah. I would say being bored, you shouldn't be afraid to be bored. Yeah? Being bored can lead to better results. Now, being only bored would obviously not be good if you just don't have anything to do. But if you imagine you are in a company.
Yes, I have to learn to be comfortable with it.
Yeah, imagine you're in a hi, Arthas. Imagine you're in a company and you have your project, yeah, and you're doing the coding, but you also have to do the management. You have to do the assignment of new employees, and you're busy the whole time. Then you basically don't have the focus on your project and can and can focus on making good code in the one thing that is actually important, and that is your main product. And that's why I say, if you can just even in the job make sure that you have the time to focus on your code or the product that you're working on, and don't get too much distractions, then you're going to end up with a better product. There's of course one thing in the reality. In reality, we are often forced to do more tasks that it would be wise to. Like talking to new employees or to new customers, it can often take a lot of time and focus from your actual work. Just making a commit here. Just a safety commit, because I remembered I didn't commit so far in the last time. And hi others, how are you doing? Havens, I have one question. You're working mainly in web development, or you have a lot of experience in it. How much time do you spend with writing the tests?
For my own projects, none.
Oh.
For my company projects it takes like half the time probably.
Oh. Is it worth it?
The problem is when maintaining and changing the tests takes more time than building features. There's only be a couple writers I have found who discussed this.
Yeah, and I know I also had testing when I was studying, and we talked about test-driven development. I thought that sounds really awesome to have test-driven development, because when I have my projects and I have hundreds of lines of code, thousands of lines of code, I know how hard it is to get to keep track of all the things that could go wrong. But in Unity, you basically don't test, for example. And this is where I'm a little bit jealous of the people in web development. For example, the first thing that you can do a little bit faster is to test things out in your actual application. Like I have to compile every time. When I'm making a test, you can do it like over here at the side. So it will have this stop command and stop every time when it comes into this line of code. But mostly I just print out a message. I don't know why I basically never use it, because and I know that it's very useful, but I don't get it.
Because the chances of an independent programmer not completing the project is very high. The most important thing, publishing as soon as possible, as long as it's a reasonable product, of course.
Yeah, that depends, of course. I think testing wouldn't make sense for a project that is having a very short development time, or maybe I would say 2 months as a barrier. Like if you have a project for a week, of course you can't do testing. After 2 months, you're probably going to have a lot of code though. So, but if you say
the problem comes when the product is so complex it takes multiple days just to test manually.
Okay. Interesting, because I had the idea.
It takes time from every release.
That maybe if you are really good at writing test cases, that you would even do it in smaller projects, because you would see a benefit in that. But you say no, basically it takes too much time.
I mean, the reason to write automated tests for me is because once the actual product becomes complex, the manual testing takes too much to make sure everything works before release.
Hmm. So you would say normally you make manual tests either way?
Cause you want to make sure your new features didn't break anything before.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's a solid logic. No, so you would test, of course. I mean, when you're programming, I just assume that every programmer tests their stuff that it actually works. I've met people, programmers, coders, that gave me functions that wouldn't work, and I was like, how long did you test this? When it doesn't even work the first time somebody tries it. But these are the exception. I assume every programmer just tries to get their things done. But afterwards, to find something, basically null exceptions and other things like array, stack overflows, or trying
Unless
things
your
that
features or
people.
complex projects have interactions with other parts the programmers might not have considered.
Yeah. Like if somebody is spamming buttons, I don't know, does something that you did not consider. Like I can press these buttons, but what if I mix that up with hotkeys in a weird way that nobody saw coming, and suddenly you have this weird case that you don't know. Yeah, it's something like that. I mean, in multiplayer games, it's also the same case. You get the thing on the server, and sometimes the game that I was working on, it would behave completely different on the server than in the Unity test environment. It was really tedious because it behaves different in the single player than in the multiplayer, and that's normal. You know that, and you can get around that with your code and think about that. But then you have different. It behaves different when you make your server. We did put it in a Docker container, and I was always connecting to this Docker container, and you get new bugs once you put it into a Docker container and work on that. And then when we deployed it, because we had more latency, we would also get new bugs. And the difficult thing is, because we didn't write everything, you're basically just taking frameworks. Sometimes it was unpredictable what would happen. Or yeah, it was very hard to make a prediction. It was basically easier to deploy the thing and test it out. But I'm really a little bit jealous, because we never get to, in the Unity developers never get to really write a lot of tests. Now we can do things like assert functions, like I think here it has a possible null exception, and I can write like an assert here. And I think there's a testing tool inside of here, general test runner, that can run the test. I don't know if it will go through here and test this assert function. I don't think so. This is basically for unit tests.
Usually tests are written separate.
Yeah, no. Normally you have your test class that goes and assumes test this class. Does this give them back the right string, for example? Yeah. Yeah, that's basically the basic explanation. But in Unity, most of the functions are void, because here the most important thing happens during runtime. Inside of this during scene. And this is basically the frame where I have everything during runtime. and somehow there's not a lot of tests that you can run without having to run the whole application. So you can of course write tests that go and assume a lot of things during runtime, but that's not the same as testing before you actually run the application and make a build. That makes it a little bit hard. But it really feels wrong after I've learned like about test-driven development and how good it is, and I've seen how much time a lot of people spend in testing, and I never get to write tests.
Use a mocking framework to set up your test data and isolate classes.
Yep. Well, I've done that when I was a student. Actually, and have written some. It was in Java though. Yeah, but then we were writing our testing, and after then, I missed that part where you test, where you practice the thing that you learned. Yeah, like you learn how important testing is, and then as a Unity developer, you never do it. And I actually have seen talk to other developers, and they also say they don't do it. They looked into ways how they do it, but most of the testing in Unity is done via QA. You give the app out to testers, and they just run the application and try to find things that don't work. So I'm a little bit. I think that's a little bit meh.
Use Sonar to check code coverage on each pull request and require 80 coverage at least.
Oh, you mean from Sonarbase? Do you use Sonarbase?
Yes, Sonar Cloud.
Sonarbase. I worked for them. These were the guys who trained me. It was actually no, they weren't called Sonarbase back then. Sonar Cloud. So I would. Okay, I would have to go into the history, but I'm pretty sure.
BRB Daily Stand Up.
All right. Oh, they changed a lot. Okay. Yeah, clean as you code. That was something. I know the guy who wrote this paragraph. Yeah, I work for them. Oh, that's cool.
It's a good tool. Checking cyclomatic and cognitive complexity is important for my team. They write a lot of overly complex code.
Yeah, I can tell you a lot about how maybe later, because it's a long topic when I was working with them. Yeah.
back.
Oh, hi there. I'm not going.
You'll be in and out though.
Yeah, me too. I'm currently cooking, and after that, I have to go to. I'm a trainer, and I have to go at 16:30. But I will eat before, so I'm not going to stream for long. Yeah. So you use Sonarbase, and I've been working with the guy who wrote. I think he wrote this paragraph about the clean code. I'm pretty sure I know who that guy is because I work for a company in Germany. They were back then they were called Whipstack, and they actually fused with Sonarbase after I worked with them. I think they did that 1 year later. So I'm not. That they were they use the same code. They basically have the same product, so they fused together, and they say it worked out for them super well. And back then they were making a lot of money. Of course I can't. It's also the only project where I can't say what I actually did for them because it is related to their security program. And it's the only project where I 100% sure can say for sure that was a successful project. Yeah, but I was working there. That was basically the first time I did code full time, and I made my bachelor degree at their company. Yeah, and my leader there, he was telling me all the things that are basically this paragraph. He was repeating all these things like a book. And back then I was able to code. Yeah, I was coding for years,
Yes,
but not
Clean
on
Code
a.
is a good book.
yeah, there's also the book. And he knew everything about it, and he taught me never to copy paste the same line of code.
Martin.
Yeah. And Robert Martin. Look at that up. I don't know. Yeah.
He's the author of that book.
Yeah. And then that was the best project I ever did. Also really good guys. Where I learned not only via the writing clean code and working with Git and how to code in a reliable way, why this is important. I also learned that you can make a lot of money when you do that, and that being nice to other developers, having good teamwork and having a good planning, that all these things contribute to making a good product and making yourselves. Yeah. So they've been starting as hackers. So they were a team of 3 people, and they started as hackers in their university. Yeah. So they made their own master thesis. It was their master thesis, where they wrote their own program to basically expose security problems in PHP code. And that program was then switched around. So instead of hacking into other people's code, it was used as a scan project to show the problems, the security-related problems.
Static analysis.
Static analysis, yeah.
Cool stuff.
They use the word static analysis a lot. Yeah, they then make that into static analysis. I can't say what I was working on though, unfortunately. Yeah, no, I can't say anything about that. It's not, no, definitely not. But it was a super cool project, super cool people, and after that I thought was like, okay, so that's programmers, and so I thought that's normal how they work. And then I was working with other German developers, and after that I realized how good these people at Sonarbase are. They're on a complete different level than the average programmers. All very good programmers. The only thing that sucked for me was, though, they decided to not hire students anymore. Back then I was a student, and they said, I think that they had 8 students or so, and they said they only want full-time employees anymore, because with the students they go in and out, and it didn't fit into their program. Yeah, so that's something. They also said that they had some students, and they told me that they are proud of me that I finished my project very well. They had some students who would be working there for months, and they said like that didn't contribute at all, or they didn't even know what they were doing. Basically, working there full time and not getting anything done. That's something that you can achieve. But it also makes me a little bit realize how lucky I am to have worked with yeah, programmers who actually care about making the best type of project. Back then I was also working in a Ubuntu Linux environment. They are all basically working on Unix environments. Yeah, I would say just very cracked people. Oh, cool. So if I'm able to map the name from the defined attribute of the class defined inside here into the drop-down list. So this might not seem like much. But that's a huge step forward for me. Because it gets a lot into a little bit abstract layer. I'm not too happy about that for each loop though. So I think you are able to give a class multiple attributes. No, not sure why this get custom attributes gives a list with attributes like that would mean that you can give this an array of attributes somehow. Maybe with different attribute types, but I'm not sure how that works. Normally I would end up with only one attribute anyway. So I'm not sure why there's I needed to have them for each loop. But since I get an array out, there has to be a way to give a class multiple attributes. It's nothing that we need though, so we don't have any use of giving one of our classes multiple attributes. The only thing that we have as an attribute for this class at the moment is its name, so that we have this name for the drop-down list. And the next thing is that I want to get rid of constructing the actual class as a scriptable object asset every time, because it works, but I don't see that it's necessary. So currently I'm constructing an asset script reference, which we are working from to reference the algorithm, but actually I just want to reference the script. This is a workaround. Workarounds are mostly bad. I don't say that you can't work without workarounds, but in this case I don't see that the workaround is justified. So I should maybe make a git commit. So my dinner is ready. I should probably make a git commit and see if I can get this working with directly referencing the script. So the main reason why I use this is so I can reuse the code from this brush list, which does something similar, but it's not the same. Also, it has the benefit that I now made a manager for the brush. Improved a little bit of the code over there, but I guess it's something for the next time. I think I will do this in the evening after I come back from my exercises, or giving exercises. So let's see if we can go into the super professional list of tasks that I have. If you want, I know of course that I've made this list one time in, I think, Bitbucket or something. Don't remember which system it was, but I'm fine with just having some kind of list. Doesn't have even to be in Word, could be in Notepad. Okay, let's go. Make dynamic mouse target wave function. So the mouse target wave function is now in the base class, but I can't delete this task yet, because we haven't plugged it into the tool set. So we don't use the function right now. So this isn't completed. The dropdown also is not completed because I want to see if I can work with this script reference instead of an asset reference, which would create a lot of points of failure. Because right now we look at the scripts, make an asset. If the script is deleted, we have to delete the asset and reload the asset references into the list that actually reference the script. Yeah, and it's a lot of work around the fact that we actually just want to have the script and reference that. So so that's something that I have to look at again to have that kind of reference. Found out why the base plane brush is not in the list. Yeah, that's also. So currently I'm just working with the list. Make hidden root object. Okay, then I talked about that in the beginning. So we haven't touched anything or completed any tasks yet. Yeah, but time is finite, and that means that's it for today. Unfortunately, I'm not too happy about the progress that I made today. We've made great top progress. The stuff that I made were important, but I couldn't complete the complete task, and that's what makes me a little bit unhappy. But I have to deal with that. Okay, until next time. Yeah, if I work after I come back, I don't think I will stream today, make another stream for today, but probably just trying to fix the referencing stuff that is not that easy to show off. But yeah, I'm just going to work on the referencing and make some improvements over there until I think that I'm finished. And when I'm done with that, I'm basically just working on the small things behind the system, make it very stable so I can release it. Okay, have a nice day and goodbye.